All right, Van Lathan is here. He's joining us. We're going to talk college football.
Yes.
It's the first time you guys have been on a podcast together?
Yeah, ever. A lot of respect for this guy, yeah.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
College football. I'm going to let you guys carry this. I'm just going to be the point guard, set you up. I'm going to be like Reed Shepherd in the G League, just running fast breaks and raining threes. We have Joel's 5 favorite things for college football. Before we do that, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Every person I know who gambles on college football is like, just throw Ohio State in a parlay. It's a wrap. They're too big. They're bigger. They're better. Like this is done. They were the 8 seed this year.
Yeah.
Is this done? Does Notre Dame, is there nobody believes in this case?
I think Notre Dame probably has a lot of bulletin board material. People are on Ohio State like crazy. They have a ridiculously talented roster, and they're peaking at the right time, right? However, despite all of the animus between LSU fans and Notre Dame fans online, I am not ready to say that Freeman and his staff up there in South Bend are not going to find a way to make this game competitive and not have a chance to win this game in the fourth quarter. I think that they will.
What do you think, Joel?
I definitely think it's going to be closer than people think. But at the end of the day, your limitations are your limitations. Notre Dame can't pass, right? Like they can't pass the ball. And I feel like that's going to be a real problem in a game where, the thing about Ohio State, we'll get into it in the list later, but somebody's supposed to slip free, right? Like Travion, Quinshawn, Jeremiah, Emeka, Carnell, somebody is going to bust loose. And like Notre Dame is going to have to do something other than put together a 13-play, 72-yard drive to keep up. And I just think eventually after a while that takes a toll and they'll kind of fall behind. But I agree with Van that it's going to be much closer and they're going to be a tougher out for Ohio State than people think.
So I think what happened with me with Notre Dame was the last game, I think there were a lot of questions answered. Now, we could talk about Penn State and some of the limitations that Penn State has, particularly the explosiveness that they lack in their downfield passing game. But a lot of questions, should I say, that people were asking about Notre Dame in the game, which was if they ever got behind, right, could they play from behind? Did the offense have enough wrinkles? Did they have dynamic enough talent on that side of the ball to get them back into a game where they couldn't play complementary football, defense.
Like a Pittsburgh Steelers situation?
Exactly.
We're down 14. The game is now over.
It's over. It's it. Yeah.
But they got down 10.
Yeah.
They got down 10, and Riley Leonard was even knocked out of the game, which honestly I think kind of worked in Notre Dame's favor a little bit because they weren't really preparing for the backup quarterback to come in there and complete a couple of passes. And they played from behind. And they made enough plays in the passing game in that game against a quality, not quite as good as Ohio State defense, maybe not, but it's pretty comparable. A quality Penn State defense. They made enough plays in the passing game to go win the game. They are facing an uphill battle, but for some reason, I think the game will be competitive.
Yeah. I don't think I can't envision a scenario in which Notre Dame can get to 24, and that's why I don't think they can win. And I feel like Ohio State can kind of F up and can we can't curse here, right? I can say
fuck yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, I can say fuck. Okay. I just like shit. Well, I know y'all curse, but I'm new here, right? All right. Well, I think Ohio State can fuck around and get 24. Like, I mean, they can just luck up into a couple, like you hit Jeremiah deep, a drive or whatever. And Notre Dame, again, better than people that think they're going to be, but I don't think they can get to 24.
All right. 2 follow-up questions off this. One, Ohio State was the ranked 8th heading into the playoffs. So a year ago, they're not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So now they're heavily favored to win the title. So what does that mean, big picture? Were we just doing this wrong the last 20 years? Do we have to go back and go through all the times when maybe the wrong team won?
No.
What does it mean?
I don't think that Ohio State necessarily deserves to be the national champion. Like by the standards of the champions that have come before them, they are a failure. They didn't beat their biggest rival. They didn't win their conference championship. So, that they win, it redeems, the fuck-ups they had earlier in the season, but I don't think it means that they deserve to have been in the playoffs. It's just a circumstance of history that they're in the playoffs. But I don't, they're the best team, but they didn't live up to that during the year. And if they didn't make the playoffs, I don't think anybody would have lost any sleep over it.
Well, counter, they lost 2 games by 4 points.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll talk about it. But have you watched Michigan play this year?
Yeah. I watched that game, and the announcers were shocked as it was happening.
I mean, yeah.
What's your take?
So I think the dynamic, it depends on which version of college football that you believe in. So if you believe the traditional college football sort of way of doing things that I was brought up on, and I'm sure Joel's brought up on too, which was the most deserving team won the national championship after a full body of work was examined, then Ohio State's not there. But what I think they were trying to move to by expanding the playoff was to see if they could get to a situation where the best team wins the national championship, and that's on the field. And that means that if you slip up a couple of Saturdays, right, it doesn't matter, because if you have the best roster and you're playing the best at the right time, then you get a chance to prove it on the field.
Right. So like that Michigan loss in the old system is catastrophic for them.
Oh,
Well,
it's over.
It's like one of the worst losses in the history of Ohio State.
Well, let's go.
Now it's not.
It's the worst loss that I can remember in that rivalry, but let's not even talk about Ohio State. Let's talk about Notre Dame that lost at home to Northern Illinois.
Right.
Right? So that is a disqualifying loss in most iterations of the old way of doing college football. It is not in this particular day.
So is that better or worse?
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what you think. I wrote about this for TheRinger.com.
I know you did.
And so what I would say is that if college football fans can sort of disabuse themselves of, like, as Van said, the most deserving notion, and it's like, well, NFL fans, when Brady and the Bucs won the Super Bowl, I mean, I don't know if anybody thought they were clearly the most deserving team or anything like that, but they won. They were the champion. And so, like, NFL fans accept that. And
it's going to be like Washington with Jaden Daniels when he wins the Super Bowl in 3 weeks.
Or it'll be like when a 9-7 team beat an undefeated New England
I didn't
Patriots
want to. I didn't want to.
Well,
I was trying to be nice.
Also like that. I blocked that out. I don't even remember that happening. Was that the Patriots? All right. Sorry, Joel. Go ahead.
But I'm with you on that. So if it's going to be like that, then, and we're going to become, college fans become NFL fans, it'll be like, all right, that happens to be the champion this year. But I guess as an older dude, I kind of like
so do I.
Every game, like that loss in Michigan should count for something. Like it should be. Now, in this way, it just made Ohio State mad. But it used to be that, oh man, like that the whole program crumbles. Ryan Day has to go away. Caleb Downs is back in the portal. All that kind of stuff.
And there's a cultural question in Columbus right now too with my Ohio State fans. And the question is, it sounds stupid to people who don't understand college football and don't understand the rivalry.
Yeah.
But it's a question that's very much on the minds of people up there. And the question is, would you rather beat Michigan or would you rather win a national championship? Yeah. Now, the answer seems obvious. There's no Ohio State fan right now on the precipice of winning a national championship that's going to say, oh, man, like blah, 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 like this doesn't matter as much. But then the day after the Michigan loss, the week after the Michigan loss, like when they were talking about Ryan Day, the way that they were talking about Ryan Day, they'd be lying to you if they'd have told you right now that that wasn't a soul-crushing moment, that not even a national championship could completely repair and heal.
Right. I think that there's still questions, even if he wins the national championship. Is this the right guy? Is this the right guy?
That's hilarious, though.
Yeah.
He's lost to Michigan 4 times in a row. Like, Bill, are you familiar with the Bayou Classic? I brought this up on Russillo's podcast. Shout out to Riggs. But the Bayou Classic, at Southern University, rest in peace, Dad, like, they would rather beat Grambling than win the SWAC. That's a no-brainer. Like, it's a one-game Super Bowl that means everything from some people that are traveling from up north in Louisiana down to New Orleans, us making a shorter drive, and it's all on the line right there. And that's just the way college football is. And if you ever get to a point where Ohio State fans will care even a scintilla less about beating Michigan, you've lost the whole sport.
Notre Dame. Can you walk me through the relationship Notre Dame has now in 2025 with America? Because I know what it meant in the 70s and 80s. To me, it felt like the biggest school on the planet forever. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. And then it came back. And now where are we in 2025?
I mean, I think it's still probably person for person. It probably is the program that your grandmother is most likely to recognize, right?
Right.
It does have that. And it no longer has the cachet. I mean, there was a time that, this large Catholic, wealthy university, own network, it had all these advantages over everybody else. Well, we all know that that's not even true. They lost a coach to LSU. Like, we're not in, no disrespect, Van, but
we can't be
LSU's not Bama. It's not Texas. It's not Ohio State.
God. This is like shots fired.
We're just saying.
Bullshit.
Jesus.
When I grew up, LSU was a 7-5 ass program. It was 7-4.
Oh my God.
Like
before Kevin Falk.
I'm worried I'm going to get hit by a bullet.
Okay.
Before Kevin Falk went to LSU, and then definitely before Nick Saban got there, they were like, if Texas A&M beat or lost to LSU, I'd be like, man, what happened to Texas A&M?
So this is bullshit. So it is because LSU was down in the 90s. That's for sure. LSU won the SEC a couple of times in the 80s, which was a hell of a time to win the SEC. The program was pretty good. It was a very important. We had a Heisman Trophy winner, all of that stuff. LSU,
you talking about Billy Cannon?
Yeah, I'm talking about Billy Cannon, 1958. That matters, right? Okay. When y'all talk about
58.
When y'all talk, hold on. Now we
do
I
get to count my Celtics title from 1958 for you now?
y'all count all them titles from back.
You don't count them.
Like y'all count all of them titles from back in the segregated days in Boston, not in the NBA. But what I'm saying is LSU, when we came into college football, was down in the 90s. And the reason why the program was down, I'm not about to do a whole LSU defense, is because a lot of the best players from Louisiana were escaping. Warwick Dunn didn't go to LSU. Cordell Stewart didn't go to LSU. Some of these people, what happened was Nick Saban was able to reorient, and Jerry DiNardo to a degree, was able to reorient the position of LSU in Louisiana, where we could keep some of the talent back at home. And when that started, we became a perennial power.
Let me throw this theory at you, because I say that Nick Saban actually integrated the SEC. Like the way that he recruited at LSU, if you look at like in recruiting rankings over those years, like starting from like 98 when Saban gets there, like every year, like the SEC school, like LSU starts creeping up the recruiting rankings, and then slowly but surely, and certainly by the time he goes to Alabama, all the other schools start to catch up, and they're like, oh yeah, I guess we need to recruit these guys, because it used to be there was a lot of reticence. Like even in Texas, like there was some reticence that the University of Texas, they didn't really recruit the guys out of the urban centers like Dallas, Houston. Those guys went to Florida State. They went to, Michigan or whatever. They didn't go to Texas. And then like something happened in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I said like Nick Saban, for me, like when I look back at what he did, I felt like he integrated the SEC in a way, right? And I think that's what was the inflection point for LSU. But prior to that, come on, man. You know what y'all were.
No, in the 90s we were down.
Tech.
Come on.
I didn't realize Billy Cannon.
It's not true.
I forgot about Billy Cannon's Heisman.
Billy Cannon's.
You know what really happened? Shaq went to LSU.
Shaq
went to LSU and it bankrupted the whole school for like 10 years. They're
what
still
happened
paying
was they hired a guy. This is a cautionary tale for any college program. They hired a guy named Curly Hallman. For most programs,
never trust a Curly.
And by the way, we're talking about Bama. It's so interesting that people go, LSU is not Bama. Bama was down for 10 years too. Bama was down, super down. We were kicking Bama's ass every single year until Saban comes to Bama. The first year Saban was at Bama, Bama loses to UL Monroe. So what I'm saying is, any program out there, right? You look at when Bobby Bowden leaves Florida State, what Florida State has to go through until Jimbo Fisher gets there. You look at Texas and Mac Brown. Texas is just getting back. It doesn't matter what color your blood is in college football. If it's blue, if it's red, whatever it is, you are one bad coaching hire.
Yeah.
One bad coaching hire. When we were coming up, Nebraska was an unquestionable blue blood, right? Tommy Frazier, Lawrence Phillips, all of these guys haven't been nationally relevant since. Colorado, you're one bad hire, two maybe at the most, from being in a situation you don't want to be in.
I wasn't saying LSU was Indiana. I'm saying that y'all would not Notre Dame.
No, we weren't Notre Dame.
Nobody ever
Joe, don't apologize to him. You're right.
Nobody thought of LSU as like this great blue blood program.
It's not about
a good, solid program.
It's a good, solid program, but what I'm saying is that if you are a program and you represent a culture where football is very important, like it is in Louisiana, it's like live or die in Louisiana. It is, whether it's LSU, Southern, high school, whatever. you're actually one coaching hire away from being able to harness the power of your state. LSU was not in the same conversation with Notre Dame, USC, or historically, and probably still isn't. But I will say, since 2000, you have 3 national championships. You've played for a 4th national championship.
Nobody wants to hear your credentials.
You've won the SEC. You've had an undefeated
what we want to do. Your team's not even the championship
You've had
game.
2 Heisman Trophy winners.
Are you happy with your program? Are you happy? Would you rather?
Sound like a fucking booster. It's like having Buddy Garrity here talking about.
Yeah. Am I happy with LSU right now? No, I think we should be doing better. But the to me, trajectory matters, and the entire context of where you are matters. And Coach O, who was a great coach in terms of what he was able to get on
what
the
a character.
A great coach.
Character.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. In terms of, when I say he was a great coach, this is what I mean. If you put together the team that we had in 19 together, you got to at least have the potential to be a great coach, right? And so he wasn't a great long-term guy because he likes to fuck boosters' wives and like
allegedly
whatever. So he wasn't a good long-term guy, right? And he left the program in shambles. For what we needed for the time that we had him, he was good. He took what Les Miles couldn't do, undefeated season, all of that stuff. Now, LSU is getting back to the point to where people in South Louisiana are looking for real results from Brian Kelly, and we'll see in the next couple of years if he can deliver them.
Can I throw a hottest take at you guys? Most important guy this century for the SEC, Dante Culpepper.
Why?
Because if Saban picks Drew Brees over Dante Culpepper, he never goes to Alabama. And then what happens to the SEC?
What are you talking about? We would have been Alabama.
Would you have?
Yeah.
Would you have?
With Les Miles?
Man.
No,
with Les Miles?
Okay.
For real?
No.
I don't know if that hottest take worked, but I wanted to fire it up anyway.
That's very interesting. I like
because I still think Saban's in the NFL now. If he has Drew Brees, he would have had Drew Brees for 15 years.
Oh no, I was confused. You're saying he went to. So if Nick Saban, what I meant to say is
Saban picked Culpepper over Drew Brees
because Drew had a hurt shoulder. What I was saying is, I got a little turned around. I was saying is, if Saban never leaves LSU, we'd have been Bama. We wouldn't have been Bama with Les Miles.
Yeah.
So you're saying if he stays in Miami and he has a lot of success there, then he never comes back. And
what happens?
For sure. I mean, look, for sure. I mean, that's the way things happen, right?
I'll say that if Saban stayed at LSU would have been better than Bama. Like the Bama, like LSU has a lot more going for it as a program and in terms of what its like potential is, as opposed to Bama, I think.
But all I'm saying is this. Whatever, like, I've spent my life watching LSU football, I can tell you this. With the talent that is inside of Louisiana, when you look at the guys that we got out there, and y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, right? About LSU, about whatever. People can say whatever. Man, Jamar Chase, Jefferson. When you look at the talent in the NFL, I'm not talking about guys that just came through.
BTJ.
I'm talking about
Neighbors and Thomas.
I'm talking about guys that are from our
wide receiver
state.
factory.
Like Derek Stingley. When you talk about guys that are from our state, if we can recruit our state, we'll be competitive with anyone.
All right, Joel, rip it off. Your 5 favorite things about college football this season. Van and I are the audience. I made you have a list. You can go 5 to 1 or 1 to 5. Your choice.
I was gonna go 5 to 1.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna rush through. Okay, real quick. Bill, did you follow Holy Cross football from 2021 to 2023?
Yes.
You did.
I was
what
into
did you think
it.
of the quarterback play?
Well, he went to UNLV and then left after 3 games.
Yeah, so like that was my number 5 thing. Matt Sluka going to UNLV because first of all, like I think it was one of the rare things. Well, it ended up okay for everybody, but for people that don't know, Sluka he was the quarterback at Holy Cross, transfers to UNLV, plays the first 3 games. UNLV looks great. Like I was like, man, UNLV's got a good damn football program. What happened there? Well, it turns out that he says he decides to sit out the rest of the season and take a red shirt because the school didn't follow through on whatever promises that they allegedly made about NIL. And I thought,
well, the follow through is they didn't fucking pay him. Whatever the money was, I just don't think he got it.
They promised him $100,000 and he only got like 1,000, right? And I don't know it's still unclear like what the difference is here and why those expectations weren't met. But it's like one of these things where you could project your feelings about the NIL era onto the player in this situation. And if you like me and you like players getting paid, I didn't mind him withholding his labor until he got what he felt was promised. And if you don't like it, it was about like these spoiled and entitled college players prioritizing money over the team. So I thought it was like a really, like a fun story that didn't ultimately hurt anybody because UNLV still was badass and Sluka.
Well, wait, though, there was a third piece to it, though, which is you have like thousands of these business deals being cut left and right, right?
Yep.
With teenage kids or kids who are
Yep.
20, 21
Yeah.
with these different colleges. They're probably not, they're just like, yeah, we'll get you 25,000 by. So there's so much room for sleaziness that I don't think we've ever seen before. We've only had this with boosters before.
You're just seeing now the opportunity for people to get in people's ears and promise things that they can't then deliver on. And the college athlete who is now in a brand new world that's kind of like the Wild Wild West with not a lot of protections or structures there to protect them or their family or protect the schools either. You're just seeing a lot of promises not being met. We'll see who has the power at the end of the day.
It's either the Wild Wild West or it's like that new Netflix show where just everybody gets brutally murdered. What's that show? American something? The Western?
About.
Tim Riggins is on it. It was on Netflix. It's like set in the 1800s. Everybody just kills everybody.
Oh, was that Roots?
No. No, it's Peter Berg's new show. It's called American something. It's about Wyoming and just, it's like 1883 more violent.
No,
anyway.
I didn't see that one.
All right, Joel.
All right. Wow. All right, I'm going to move to number 4. So, Nick Saban was actually trying to be honest earlier this year when he said the only place you play in the SEC that's not hard to play is in Vanderbilt. And then it's like not even a month later, Alabama goes to Vanderbilt and loses for the first time since 1984, man. Got their ass beat. Vanderbilt scored 40 points on them. They didn't luck into those points. They beat their ass. And it was just hilarious. Because first of all, you also get to see Bama fans go crazy now. Yeah, it's like they've lived an unprecedented ride for like the last 15 to 20 years. And to see their faces and to see how they responded to losing to Vandy in the first year post-Saban, it was hilarious. So that I had to put that at number
Good one.
4.
Right.
Yeah. I would also add for Saban, I loved when Shane Gillis made fun of him and Saban didn't know how to handle it. It was one of my favorite TV moments in a while.
Right.
Because
do you like him?
Saban had no sense of humor about it.
No.
He was like, who the fuck is this guy? He's saying we cheated? And by the way, how does he know?
Yeah. He didn't say, did Shane say anything about Chargers or anything? He didn't say anything about a Dodge Charger, did he?
No, he was just talking.
See?
He made a paying the players joke.
Yeah.
And Saban was
wasn't
just like,
fucking with it. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
number 3.
Number 3. So if you were like me, since I followed college football, the idea of Arizona State football has always been like, man, Arizona, why isn't Arizona State any good? They've got they're in a fast-growing area. They got a lot of sun. It's like a school where, like, academics ain't going to be in the problem. And, if you like me and you saw, the Playboy edition of Pac-10, Pac-10 season's like Arizona, you know what I'm saying, is rolling with
Say elite milk.
Yeah, you said it, not me. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I'm a family man.
I am too, but the truth is the truth.
So anyway, about Frank Kush. No, I'm just joking. About Frank Kush. But man, like Arizona State was dope this year, man. Like you kind of see it's like, oh man, Arizona State's good. They might have like a future. They got a 34-year-old coach he can recruit. They got a little offense. They're not going to get Cam Scatterbo. Like I call that dude Pocket Grunk. Like I don't know if he's going to be good in the NFL or whatever, but like as a college character, he was perfect for like Arizona State.
I think as a 4th rounder, he's a must. Man, like once you get past the 2nd round, you're just like throwing darts against the dartboard.
Taking a flyer on him. I mean,
yeah.
Look, what
could he be like Tyler Algier?
What you do know is he has an incredible skill set. He can do a lot of different things on the football field. He might not have all the measurables. I'm sure he'll run like 4.6 or 4.
Oh,
like
4.6.
Yeah, but he is a football player.
Yeah,
who's so competitive.
Who's been good since he was probably 7 years old.
Always found a way.
Yeah,
always. And
I'm in on that dude.
The tape always matters more to me than the measurables. Your tape always matters more.
It feels like he's going to have some moment where somebody's starting running back will get hurt next year or a year from now, and that guy's going to go in and have like 110 yards and be the big fantasy pickup.
Yeah.
God only knows.
I mean, that dude beasted against Texas, and like Texas has all the athletes you could think of, and he was
awesome.
Those dudes.
Yeah. All right, number 2.
Awesome. Number 2. This was the first Heisman race in about a decade where QB wasn't a serious contender, and I love that because we could talk about Travis Hunter, who I don't know. I've never seen anything like that in college football. Like maybe if you go down a level or something, or you could say, oh, there's a guy that played, 1,000 snaps in a season, but I've never seen anybody do that and excel in the way that Travis Hunter did. And like there was a game this year against UCF. He had 9 passes for 89 yards, a touchdown, a pass breakup, and interception. And he was on the field for 128 of 143 snaps in that game. And I'm just like, yo, like, I don't know what more you could, like, people thought Charles Woodson was amazing because he played a few snaps at receiver. No, like, Travis Hunter was doing something else totally. And like the Ashton Jeanty kid, get on the soapbox for a second. If you think that Ashton Jeanty got exposed against Penn State, you were stupid. Like, I literally think that you don't know ball. Because the dude, like, if you watch that defense and him, like, that guy, it took everything in that Penn State defense, and they focused all their efforts on them because Boise State couldn't pass. And that dude still hammered out 100 yards. There was a 10-yard run early in the fourth quarter where 6 Penn State guys got a hand on that guy. Yeah, man. Yeah. So I love him. So
it felt like they were almost running like a goal line defense on him.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's getting crushed.
It was tough yards, but every yard that he got, he had to take it from the defense. So he proved to me what a good back he was by his performance in that game.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter is supposedly a badass, and he got hurt tackling Ashton Jeanty in that game. You know what I'm saying? So anyway. And
so Hunter's your favorite? Because obviously I have the 4th pick in the draft with my beloved Patriots because we fucked up the last game of the season. But Carter is one of the guys, the fan base is we have a new coach. He wants to build around the lines. We're like, look at this guy.
I mean,
could be an amazing pass rusher, but he's probably not going to be there at 4. I feel like he's going to go before that.
Man, yeah. Man,
it feels like a Will Anderson situation, right? Where he'll just go second.
I mean, if he does get drafted high, I mean, a lot of people say, but my thing is this: if Will Campbell, homer pick, if Will Campbell is still on the board when you guys are drafting, you guys should take the left tackle.
Yes. I think that's where we probably end up.
Yeah.
So you would play Hunter D-back or receiver?
D-back, because it's so much harder to find guys with that skill set at that position. You can get a receiver, maybe not as talented as Travis, but you could get a reasonable approximation. On defense, though, there's just not cats like that.
Because it seems like the move with him, and maybe he ends up on the Pats, I don't know, but cornerback and then special packages and maybe third and 8 and up, he comes in and he's like your third receiver. And so maybe he's like 10 offensive plays a game and then cornerback, which even that would be like nobody's doing that now.
Right. I mean, look, I don't know what the feasibility is of him playing too much going both ways in the NFL from a wear and tear situation. Travis has been injured before.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the feasibility is of it. I know if I was him, I would want to play the receiver. If I was him, just for the money. However,
it is more money.
They're going to want him.
It's like $30 million a year at least.
Yeah. They're probably going to want him to play DB. But if I was him, I would want to find my way to
it's so much fun.
Offense.
I remember as a kid, or I wasn't a kid, I guess I was in college, when Dion, he was the D-back, but then every once in a while they would play him at receiver. Every time he came in, it was so fucking exciting. It was like, are they throwing bubble screen? Is he just going to throw it deep for him? It was like, you couldn't take your eyes off it. All right, number one.
This is kind of obvious. I mean, there was just nothing that was going to indicate that Michigan was even going to be competitive with Ohio State.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Like, Ohio State was a 19.5-point favorite coming into that game. They had a $20 million roster. Michigan didn't even have their best player of that game, like the cornerback, Will Johnson. He was out that game. And this was like, they had it all set up. They're at home. They can exact revenge on this team and just totally exercise all those demons. And they lost to like the brokest dick offensive team. I mean, I saw at that. Like, they cannot throw a forward pass on that team.
It's one of the most embarrassing and shocking college football losses I've seen. Yeah. Really, maybe since Michigan lost to Appalachian State. A couple of decades before. Like, you know what I mean? I struggle to explain how that game happened in the way that it
with
did.
The stakes for Ohio State.
With the stakes for Ohio State, with everything that was on the line for Ohio State in terms of what they were playing for structurally in terms of a college football championship, but also culturally. Like the fact that they had been getting their asses kicked and Harbaugh was there, and this was the time for them to actually win that game 31-10. They couldn't fucking do it. And not only that, they got fucking manhandled and got their goddamn manhood taken by their arch rivals. I could not believe it.
I love this theory that loss was worse than the high of winning a title.
But let me tell you something.
That's a really interesting seesaw.
And it diluted home, too. Yeah. I mean, like, they did it on your home field, bro.
I'll be honest with you, Joe. I think that loss catapulted them into a national championship run.
It made them mad.
They got pissed off. They got embarrassed. They just have not played anywhere nearly like the same team since. The unbeatable behemoth that we were told Ohio State was going to be this year, they've played that way subsequently to that loss. So that says a lot about their staff and really a lot about their players and their program, to be honest with you.
Do you guys like Ohio State fans?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I have one thing to say, and I have a theory. And, I know concussion came out 9 years ago, but I talked about this on the press box. I think Ohio State's quarterback got a concussion in the second quarter. I think Will Howard got a concussion because he missed the play for a head. They said they were looking at his head. He said he was okay. He went back in the game and he never looked the same. So that's just, I know that football, we've moved on from that, like the worrying about CTE and everything, but I kind of feel like that dude got a head injury.
I will always, for the rest of my life, think Mahomes got a concussion in that Bengals game at the end of the first half.
Right.
And he was never the same after that moment. And that was when they lost. And I still can't believe they didn't make the Super Bowl there.
You know what? You guys I'm getting so sick of this conversation, this bleeding heart liberal bullshit that I'm listening to. You guys are talking like it's 2018.
Right.
Like it's
I
over.
forgot. It's Trump's America now.
The unwokening has happened.
Yeah.
Scramble their brains. Okay? Like, if I see you out there wearing one of those soft helmets, I'm going to start trolling you and your family. Scramble their brains. It's over. We don't have to care anymore. We don't have to care about nothing.
The great unwokening?
The great unwokening has happened. We don't have to care about nothing. Put Tua right back in the game right now. Put him right back in. I don't care. It's over. I don't have to care no more. No more marches.
All right, we have to run. Van, a pleasure. Joel, awesome to finally have you on.
Yeah, man, I had a lot of fun with you guys, man.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
I'll be back.
Easy on LSU.